We're out here in a remote area in Vietnam, so hopefully it'll be a lot quieter when we get this done today. But we're going to talk about 3 good things and the 3 bad things about the 4 main countries in Southeast Asia, being Cambodia, Laos, Thailand, and finally, Vietnam. Let's get into it. Number 1, Cambodia. What is the good? Now, the first thing about Cambodia that's honestly, I think amazing is the temples. There are so many temples. Being in Siem Reap, you can be in Phnom Penh, you'll find a few out there. And throughout the entire country, you'll see amazing temples. These temples are so unique to Cambodia just because they're different. You go to Thailand or Laos, they're very beautiful, they're very colorful. Cambodia's temples are raw. They're concrete, they're bricks, they're original, they're untouched, they're not glamorified, they're nothing like that. They're just naturally beautiful looking temples, and they're definitely a must to see. Number 2 is the nightlife, the expat life. This life in Cambodia is starting to come up. Places like Vietnam are starting to calm down because of the laws, and places like Thailand are starting to turn more into designated like free-for-alls rather than just a good nightlife. Cambodia is keeping that little mix of a good night out with the family with a little partying on the side, where it's not too crazy where you're going to wake up in somebody else's house or at a police station. And number 3 is for you guys that are coming out here to work. If you want to get a job in Southeast Asia as an English teacher, but you don't have a degree, Cambodia is the best spot to come because you don't need a degree. You just need a TEFL. I talk about this a lot on how to get it. Check the link below, save a ton of money, get a 120-hour TEFL online while you're at home. Come out here to Cambodia and you can start working legally, get a work permit without a degree. Now, when it comes to the bad things about Cambodia, the first one, and it's most obvious, is the infrastructure is so bad in Cambodia, and it's just outdated. They don't have a lot of the modern stuff that you'd see in a lot of Southeast Asia. A lot of the stuff already built is pretty much falling apart. Getting used to the infrastructure, if you're going to live out here, is one of the biggest struggles that people deal with, because you're not only dealing with the bad infrastructure, you're dealing with the chaos with it. Now, number 2 goes back to number 3 of the good, having no degree to teach. The bad thing about not having a degree out here isn't that you can get a job, it's that you're competing with people with degrees, being bachelor's and master's degrees. So these schools are starting to have an inventory of teachers that they can select from. This is starting to affect the salary that people without degrees are getting. So if you don't have a degree, you're going to be battling for your salary. And the final bad thing about Cambodia is once you get outside the main cities, there's nothing to do. Cambodia is a very big factory country. And it's not like Vietnam is, where they'll have factories within the cities. The entire city in Cambodia will be a factory. Once you get out of the main tourist areas, there's not a lot to do out here. There are a few spots here and there you can move and live and enjoy, but it is very, very limited. So coming out to Cambodia, you are kind of limited and restricted to the tourist areas. Number 2, Laos. Laos is an amazing country. This is actually one of the countries I feel that nobody ever really gives a chance to or visits, and it's one of the best untouched spots in Southeast Asia, all of Southeast Asia, mind you. The good things about it is, number 1, it's so laid back. Everyone is chill, nobody's freaking out. It's not chaotic like Vietnam's traffic. It's not the busy life that you see in Bangkok. It's just chill. And this is even in the main capital. It's very relaxed. Things are kind of slow. Nobody's in a hurry, nobody's pushing. When it comes to the number 2 thing, this is one of my favorites. We talked about Cambodia's natural temples. Laos is the similar thing. It has beautiful temples. It has beautiful natural areas to go. Mountains, farm towns, all this stuff. It is all untouched. It's just immaculate. It's not full of trash. Doesn't smell like a landfill. It's just open, untouched land. And it's not just certain areas around Laos. We're talking everywhere. So if you're looking to find the old farm traditional life of Southeast Asia, this is one of the best countries to come to for it. And number 3, the cost of living in Laos. Laos has to be one of the cheapest countries to live in. $1 will legitimately get you pretty far out here. So if you're out here on an extreme budget, Laos is going to be one of the best spots to go. $1 will get you food. It'll get you on a bus. $4 will get you a really nice hotel. If you have $15, you'll get a super nice hotel, 5 or 6 beers, 2 meals, and you'll wake up in the morning happy. So when it comes to the good, we got to talk about the bad. The first one is the internet. Internet in Laos is very sketchy. There's good internet here and there, but it is sketchy. Once you get out of the main city areas, you're pretty much battling with low frequency internet. So you're not getting high speed internet, stuff like that. Even when I was trying to upload videos for you guys, I'd have to do my videos, complete them, and wait till I got to the next town, rent an expensive apartment for the day, just to upload. So be ready for some internet issues. If all you're doing is text messaging and checking Facebook, stuff like that, you're gonna be pretty much fine. But anything past that, it can be a battle. Number 2 is the modern stuff. Now, we talked about the infrastructure of Cambodia being kind of outdated, and it is outdated. The thing with Laos is there is nothing. You can almost think of Laos as like 1945 almost. So if you are living out here, you're going to have to adapt to an extreme farm life, which isn't bad because Laos is right next to the Thailand border. You can always buy it from Thailand, but when it comes to being in like the countrysides of Laos, you're going to be limited. So get used to the very unmodern day-to-day life that you will experience out here. And number 3 comes to the job market and the nightlife. None of them exist. The nightlife in Vientiane is barely there. And when it comes to the job market, getting teaching jobs are extremely hard. Most of them are voluntary based jobs, and the teaching jobs you do get that pay you are limited, restricted, or part-time. If you are coming to Southeast Asia to work and live based off earning an income, Laos is probably the last spot you should be looking. Number 3, Thailand. The first thing you're gonna notice about coming to Thailand is it's very modern. Big towers, newest technologies, all this stuff out here. You can even come out here with an engineering degree and get a nice job. When it comes to the most modern country in Southeast, the main Southeast Asian countries, Thailand hands down is the best spot to go. Now, number 2 is one of my favorites. The beaches in Thailand, the islands in Thailand are some of the most beautiful you'll see in all over the world. Crystal clear, blue, clear water, warm water, beautiful fishes. Scuba diving is amazing. If you do come out here, you have to do the island jumps. PP Island is a must. Number 3 is going to be the diversity out here. If you come out to Asia and move, you pretty much expect to live in the city life, or you expect to live in the farm life. When it comes to Thailand, you have so many options: farm, city, remote, suburbs, party cities, beach cities, all these different types of options. So if you do come out here to live long-term, which is an option for you to do out here, you have so many options to pick from, and you're not stuck with the one. You can always move around. Now with the good, we got to talk about the bad. The first one is the tourism sucks out here. Like, it's starting to take over Thailand, where it's getting to the point where all the tourist areas are just bars, ladyboys, alcohol, STD stands, and more alcohol. And this has been the thing that's been ongoing for the last couple of years. Since the pandemic ended, Thailand has really taken a turn towards tourism, and it's almost taking over a majority of the main cities. If you're going to live out here, you probably don't want to live in a heavy tourist area. You're going to regret it. Number 2 is the cost of living. The cost of living is starting to go up. There's a lot of new foreign taxes that are being smashed on us for us bringing money in from the outside that's being taxed. And then there's other types of employment taxes that are hitting us. And on top of that, the visa confusion is becoming an issue. If you have a DTV or an elite visa and you come into Thailand, you are looking at possibly getting stopped by immigration and being pretty much questioned and having to redo your visa, even though you have a 5-year visa. The visa process in Thailand is starting to become a complete mess. And finally, number 3, the overcrowded cities. This is something that kind of goes hand in hand with the tourism. There's way too many people out here. It's mostly foreigners that are backpackers. These aren't expats living out here working 9 to 5 kind of thing. These are just expats that are out here drinking every day, turning the place into pretty much a sex bar. This is really starting to degrade it. When I first moved to Thailand during the pandemic, it was a beautiful spot. This is when we hit PP Island with the Phuket. We went to Pattaya. These were amazing spots to visit. But now when I visit them in 2024, they were literally just degenerate streets of bars, ladyboys, and just drugs at this point. So I don't know how Thailand's going to deal with this, but it is definitely starting to make Thailand look rather bad and disgusting. And finally, number 4, Vietnam. The first good thing about Vietnam is the food. There is street food everywhere, miles and miles and miles. You will never not have street food. If you're in Saigon or Hanoi, you could be going out at 4 in the morning and picking up a banh mi and grabbing lunch. This is completely possible. Number 2 has to deal with the work. If you have a 4-year bachelor's degree, if you're in Saigon or if you're in Hanoi, it's so easy to come out here and just find a teaching job out here. So you can stay out here long term, get yourself a 1 or 2 year work permit and just chill out here for a couple years, getting paid to live out here. But you do have to have a degree. If you don't have the TEFL, check the link below. Do it at home, online, 15% off. Get it done before you come out here. It is required. And finally, number 3, the open road. If you come out here, you have to buy or rent a bike and drive through Vietnam. This is one of the coolest things I've ever done traveling across Asia, is doing the motorbike ride from Saigon up to Hanoi. Takes you about 3 weeks, costs you about $800 at most, and you can see the entire country. Vietnam is a beautiful country once you get outside the main city, so you have to do this. And with that, we got to get to the bad. Number 1 is the traffic. Traffic in Vietnam is so bad. Doing this video, you probably heard so much honking going on. People out here have low IQ, no common sense, borderline not human when it comes to driving. There's no logic, there's no respect. It's me, and everybody's constantly pushing, honking, just driving on sidewalks, hitting people, nobody cares. You'll see people driving, popping out of roads, all kinds of crazy shit out here. The driving in Vietnam has to be some of the dumbest I've ever seen. And yes, I've been to India, I've been to China, I've been to Mexico. Vietnam is dumber when it comes to driving. So be careful. Number 2 is the pollution. If it's not the air, it's what's in the ground, it's what's in the ocean. Vietnam's pollution is so out of control. And the sad thing about it is the people don't give a shit. They literally do not care about their country when it comes to how it looks. You'll see Vietnamese throwing stuff on the ground, peeing in the oceans, throwing trash in the oceans, kicking bags in the ocean every morning, throwing stuff on the ground, whatever it is. Nobody here cares. And I've seen a lot of people comment on my videos about, you know, it's the foreigners that come there and destroy it. No. Vietnam is the 4th dirtiest country in the world when it comes to pollution in the oceans globally. That's a big achievement on Vietnam's part, saying how small the country is. Yet they are number 4 in the world for the most pollution in the oceans. This country is seriously out of control when it comes to pollution. And finally, number 3, the visa process. There is no way to stay in Vietnam long term. Sure, you can do visa runs here and there, every 3 months go about, but you're gonna start dealing with immigration issues, bribery, corruption, all that stuff. The whole process to stay out here is pretty mixed up. If you get married, you get a 5-year visa. If you work for a school, you get a 2-year visa exemption. But if you're just doing visa runs, it's every 3 months, you're in and out, in and out, in and out, and you do these visa runs. After about 2 visa runs, they're gonna start stopping you at the border, and they might not let you back in. But again, you are doing this on a tourist visa. I understand why Vietnam does it, but it's not clear is where the problem is. Meaning, some people have been doing visa runs for 3 years now. Some people can barely get a 3rd one in. So it's inconsistent. Immigration and visa borders and Vietnam borders in general are just a mess, and they're stressful to deal with. Nobody likes them. It's probably one of the worst things about Vietnam is just going through a border in Vietnam, be it the air or the ground. They all suck. So hopefully that answers the question today on what 3 good things and 3 bad things about Southeast Asia when we talk about Cambodia, Laos, Thailand, and Vietnam. Is there anything that I missed that you think I should have added that is good about these countries, or something that's bad about these countries? Let me know below in the comments. But with that being said, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks for watching, and I will see you again.